What's the hotel we like in Durango? The old. It's old and I can't remember what it's called. It's really cool though. All the rooms are filled with all this super old furniture.
It's haunted.
And there's like the room we
Hello, hello. Welcome to your mountain escape on Canary Radio,
As we walk in,
where the early bird gets the worm.
we swear
This is Shane and Kenny, joined by my friend Jamie here.
It's really cool.
We're on the roof of the Dead Canary Bar. About to start service up here, and we're going to be recording a live podcast as well.
Beautiful hotel, red brick.
So we're going to be
Very nostalgic to the mountains, like it would be right here with
having another guest too, Jeremy Tilton. He's coming on.
you guys have to seek up there.
And we're going to be talking about Ouray, talk about the origin stories. How did we find this little gem in the mountains? Really excited to be doing this.
Oh,
Yep.
are we live?
This is our first episode. We're live.
Oh, hello.
Hi.
Janie.
Hi, Jamie.
Janie
So-
Janie.
Janie, sorry.
Oh, that's all right, audience. It's Janie with an N as in Nancy. If you're familiar with Aerosmith, Janie's got a gun. I don't actually have a gun, but you can remember me that way if you need to.
I'm named after Blind Melon.
Oh, that's
the
better.
lead singer of Blind Melon, Shannon Hoon.
That's better.
Yeah. Well, both musicians.
Yeah,
Both-
but Blind Melon did
both
better
amazing.
stuff. Come on.
Ah,
Yeah, for sure.
my parents thought so. They went on the tour bus with them, smoked with them,
Nice.
made this instant bond, and went to all the shows and stuff. And
Parents seem too young to do that.
oh no, I'm 30. I don't know what you're talking about. No, I'm just kidding. So I'm 25, but
Old enough to be doing this.
I guess so. We're gonna try it out. We're gonna see what all the hype is about.
Nice. Well, I can tell you we had an awesome experience. We spent 2 days up crawling around on side-by-sides in these mountains. And we've done it in a few other areas. We've been out to Moab and just some other areas where our family out in the southern Colorado area have some
yeah.
land. And, I mean, you think about going out to Moab and then coming out here, like, they're both fantastic, but oh my gosh, this was amazing. We went through some stuff that was a little scary. And
Oh,
even
yeah.
the family that we came out here to do this with,
Uh-huh.
they've ridden all these mountains around here, and they're like, that was the toughest they've done. Scary
Really?
in a fun way.
Sure,
like,
yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It's really cute. We've driven through a lot of these mountain towns on our way out. Like, we stopped through Glenwood Springs. It's similar to this, but this is better.
Yeah. Well, I grew up here.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, my dad moved from New York with my mom, and they actually got jobs at the Orbis Hot Springs. That was like their first gig, graduating college, celebration trip, seeing some of the West, and ended up soaking in Orbis at the pool. And they were like, we'd do anything to be here, and they went back home, packed up other stuff, came out. And then I grew up super woodsy. I had lived in like a teepee for a couple years, like when I was a baby,
Nice.
after the RV. And then my dad got this piece of land in between here and Ridgeway and had a yurt on it. And
Very cool.
yeah, so I've been around the area for a long time. But how about you?
I just gotta say, there's such a difference between the way kids grow up out here versus, I mean, we're not in a giant city. We're out of Kansas City, but it's still the city. And I'm always amazed to see how our niece that grew up out here doing all this kind of stuff, like what you're doing, like at Christmas time comes around and all the other kids in the city, they want their electronics, and she was like, I want an umbrella. So it's just
Yeah.
amazing you guys grow up out here doing this. And
Yeah.
she might, I know the audience can't probably hear my sister here, but I've got a sister here, Vicky, and she grew up in a lot more of this than I did. So this is amazing for us to come out here and experience this. I was born in Cortez, Colorado, so
Oh, okay.
southwest from here.
Uh-huh.
That's where our dad was from, and now a lot of our family is. And so we
Nice.
come out and do this kind of stuff when we get a chance to come see them.
Yeah.
But I moved away from here whenever I was really little. I don't hardly remember
I haven't lived here since
any of
middle
it.
school.
Yeah, well, growing up that way, I kind of, looking back, it was like the best thing that could have happened for me, because I spent all that time reading a lot of books, which I think
Exactly.
was one of the best things for me growing up. And also my dad was super awesome. He would do journals with us, and we'd listen to like audio tapes at night and draw like animals and stuff that we saw on our land. And climb trees,
fantastic.
play board games. Yep.
Yeah, I feel like that's something that, you know, we miss out on. I'm this guy that I've now my boyfriend of 5 years. He grew up not in an environment that you did, but they didn't have TV and stuff like that. So he read a lot. I mean, he'd read 50 to 100 books in a summer when he wasn't in school. And he's just full of all this information. Every time as we're riding through these mountains and we're seeing all this stuff, and, you know, people are going, well, I wonder what that is, and I wonder what that does. And I'm just constantly going, yeah, my boyfriend would know this, you know, because he grew up like that, reading and not, you know, and just playing outside and doing stuff. So I think you had it better as far as like real life experiences. And
definitely. My dad also was a rock star, basically. He played in this band called Fractalia that played in this area a lot. They did this Dreamtime Festival. It's like this kind of... it's like in the desert, just like this kind of hippie festival where they go out in the middle of nowhere and do all kinds of stuff, you know. That when I was a kid, I didn't know what was going on, but I was having fun just running around in the mud and stuff. And
exactly.
And so he would throw parties on that land too, like, and just have tons of people over, and he was a pretty popular guy. And that was really cool.
And would he play? Was that kind of he played in the area, but when he did things like that, did he play for them?
Oh, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, they would jam out, do drums and stuff, play horseshoes. Yeah.
Part of the crew went to Silverton last night for the festival that I guess they have every weekend.
Oh, yeah.
In the summer.
The Gator Fest, or...
Yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't make it, though.
Well, I think it's going on tonight, too.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Well, we're heading on after this, but...
So, Gator Fest in Silverton.
Every weekend through the summer. That's
Sweet.
pretty cool. That's another good reason to come out here, because it's like, what, 20 minutes from Ouray or wherever you're staying out in the mountains. We were, I think, 15 minutes where we were from it. So don't come if you're a person that, you know, wants to come out and do this stuff, but you want that kind of nightlife entertainment. That's here too. Come on out.
There's always something going on in the summer. People are pretty prepared for it seems like, and I mean, the area is just an attraction on its own, you know, just to go over Red Mountain Pass, and every little town around here has got something cool going on, but it definitely helps. We got lots of live musicians in the area, and
I'd like to encourage the ladies to come out and do this mountain and go out and climb around, because we got a lot of weird looks up there. Whenever we were a group of 8 or 9, and there were 2 guys and mostly girls, and yeah, we got a lot of weird looks because it's mostly guys up there on the mountain. Ladies need to get out here more and show them up.
Ladies sit in the passenger seat up there.
Yeah.
Nobody in our family sits in the passenger seat.
So back to kind of like how I grew up versus how kids are kind of growing up now. Like working in the restaurant, I work at the Full Tilt now, bartending.
Oh, you do?
And it's weird how often you'll see like a family come in and they all just sit down, and like the kids have their little like iPad set up, and they will like you know, it's one thing to like watch your show for a bit or whatever until your food comes, and then you know put it away or whatever, but they will just eat and watch the whole time.
There's
like
no
3 kids
interaction
and,
around the table.
oh yeah.
As a mother, I would love to see society get back to more of what you grew up with and fewer devices and screens, because my kids are the same way. I have one in college and I have one in high school, and they're boys. I'm a mother of boys. And they come out here and they love this stuff, and they put their devices away, and we go back to the city and they're back in that life again. So this is cool.
Well, it's like everything in moderation, and obviously tech
So
is
how
just
old were
exploding.
you
So
when you got your first cell phone?
maybe 15, 16. My mom got me one of the little slide-out keyboards.
I worked for T-Mobile back whenever cell phones were first really becoming a thing, that everybody getting to where they needed to have one. And I mean, those little flip phones. It was the greatest thing when those came out. Now nobody wants that. Those are your disposable phones.
My little brothers have like a watch that like will make calls and text but won't do anything else really, you know?
That's kind of smart though, actually.
Yep, so now they have like those phones that, you know, message your friends or whatever, but you're not.
Well, you have the
like
part
doing
that most
whatever
parents want, right? They want to be able to reach you,
right.
but you don't have access to the internet and everything, where you get into the wasting your time or dangerous stuff or whatever it becomes for that person. But yeah,
I use that excuse to my mom. She's like, well, I need to be able to talk to you anytime. You know, like I gotta be able to reach you. I'm like, that's what it's really the phone's about for me too, Mom. I just want to be able to talk to you. You know,
That's
so.
right.
Yeah.
Mom would love to hear that.
So you might as well just be the one paying for it.
There you go.
Yeah, we need to hear about this guy over here.
Yes, we got a
The guy that
legend.
has this amazing rooftop bar.
With her. Yeah, her and I run this one and the Full Tilt.
Oh, nice. Krista.
So we got Jeremiah Tilton joining us
What's
for the
up?
podcast, and Krista's working, and we're so. How
So
do you,
then
so
what-
you
what
know
keep-
you know Jeremy?
Well, we just met him
You just
briefly
met him.
over in the bar. Yeah, his,
Oh.
wait, what's the name of the place down there again?
The Outlaw.
Yeah, his outlaw girlfriend introduced us to him.
Colleen, the best bartender in town.
We better set the record.
Now all of a
straight on
sudden,
that.
Krista's like, I'm out. I'm not doing this anymore.
Second best bartender in town.
Next to me.
Oh, third best. I mean, there's a. All right, 3 great bartenders in this town that we know of.
Yeah, I got back yesterday from Cali. It's good to be back. So,
How'd you find this place? How'd you land here?
how did I land in Ouray?
Yeah.
I grew up in Denver and would come up here hunting for years and years and years. And after probably 8 years of hunting up here, decided that it would be a good spot to open a bar.
Wait, were you any good at hunting?
No. Terrible. Terrible. It's mostly like hiking with a gun.
Sure. You're just making it a little more difficult because you're carrying extra weight.
Exactly.
All right.
But yeah, we opened up Full Tilt Saloon in Ridgeway on 2017. And we were over by the Shell Station. It's the Lazy Dog Saloon now. Just check it out on your way out. This guy named Juice owns it. He's pretty cool.
All right.
Check out some juice.
Sounds like he's a buff dude or something.
No, he's just a nerd from New Orleans. We had this conversation about how he got his nickname, and you know, it was like, was it because you were buff in school or whatever it was? And it was because he was fast, right, Krista?
buff.
Yeah, that's how we ended up in that race in New Orleans. So he was telling us that he got Juice. That was his name because he was super fast. So Kristen and I decided to do a foot race outside of a bar in New Orleans down the street to see who was faster.
Who won?
Yeah.
I won that race.
Oh, so Juice's name needs to be changed then, if that's what he got. Oh.
Yeah, you should tell him that when you go down there that
Right.
he's
Right.
not living up to his name.
Okay,
We got a new
it.
juice in town.
That's right.
Jared, did
Have a good
where'd you go
ride.
to school? Where'd you grow up going to school, like high school and stuff?
Kind of all over the Front Range.
Oh yeah.
Up and down the Front Range.
Did you do sports?
Yeah, I played football until I was sophomore in high school, I guess.
Okay. You got any good nicknames? Jer?
Just check.
Just Jer Bear? So, Janie, did you play any sports?
So I played a little basketball in middle school, and it was really good. And then freshman year, we moved to a small town about 30 minutes away from where I lived. And being a girl coming into a new high school in a small town, it's not fun.
Oh, yeah.
Girls are mean.
Oh, yeah.
So I tried to walk onto the basketball team because I was a little late into the season when we switched. And the girls were so mean, I quit. And that was the end of my sports. So no, but the athlete in us is right here. This,
Oh, yeah?
This girl right here.
Stopped doing sports a long time ago.
She was a runner and a badass runner.
Yep, I was a runner too.
You were?
Yep.
Sprinter?
Yep. Ran around this area.
Oh, I can only imagine. You had to.
Yeah, when I was young, I was more like a long distance runner. I did cross country, and yeah, we would have. There was a couple. They host like half marathons and stuff here. I did one that was from Ouray to Ridgeway on the back roads,
No
and then one that's
freaking
basically
way.
the perimeter trail. Was a really good runner. Yep, and it's good to train up in this area, like high elevation. And like I remember the first time I went to visit my grandpa in New York. It just felt like I could just run forever, like all the oxygen.
Oh, I'm sure.
That's why they do it.
It is. I have a son who's going to be a junior. He's D1 track scholarship, and he runs at Illinois State University, and he's a sprinter. And he wanted to come out here and train for the summer. We actually had a VRBO outside Denver, and it fell through because the roads were impassable. I had it for the summer, and that fell apart last minute in June. And so he was looking forward to going up to that area and just training
Cool.
and going back and being a beast.
This altitude is no joke.
It's no joke, yeah.
I
I
just
mean,
met
But it didn't.
a guy the other day at the restaurant, and said he had just done the Ouray 500. Little edit here. I'm actually talking about the Theodore Roosevelt Ouray 100-mile run. The Colorado 500 is a motorcycle charity event, and that's different. And I was like, oh, wow, cool. But then I came back to it later, so I was like, so what was it that you were telling me about? And like, I don't know. It took him 2 days, he said.
Wow.
And
Are these mountains?
it must be somewhere in this area. I'm not exactly sure where. Yeah, should look that up. But yeah, some of the people you see here are just
Are you still
another breed.
competing?
Like,
Do you still run?
not anything professional or anything. Just run to work when I'm late. You know.
Run from the cops, run to work.
Right, run from the cops.
Up at the top of one of these, I can't remember where we were, but you just see this guy coming up the last little trudge to the top of the mountain on his bike. And I'm like, how? How are you biking up this? That's insane.
We have a guy that works with us who moved from Florida, and he's got this truck camper set up, and he lives way out of Ouray in the woods. And when I first started here, he would come in. He's just got like the cleanest, almost iron button up. Everything looks totally clean. And it wasn't until like 2 weeks he asked me, like, maybe you give me a ride back to my spot tonight? And I had no idea he was living so far out. It was like a 20-minute drive, you know, and he was doing it on a bike. And I'm like,
Yeah, no, that's cool.
so what else would we talk about here? How about your guys' current passions and hobbies?
Ours or Jeremy's?
Sure, yeah, anybody. Jer, how about you?
Well, currently, I work 3 jobs, as you know. So I do the day job, and then I'm up here doing the bars, traveling back and forth between here in California and the East Coast. So there's not a lot of time for hobbies, and I think the few days I do get off, it's like I want to be in the woods, just up hiking or camping or something like that, just getting away from people.
So do you want to talk about your 3 jobs?
We can.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so I always call it the day job, but it's, I work for McAfee, selling security software to the federal government. So my customers are all across the U.S. And, for example, we're going to Albuquerque on Tuesday to meet with the Los Alamos Labs, to pitch our software. So it's a traveling job. I carry a quota. And when I'm not doing that, we have Krista and I up here running the 2 bars. She takes the load of that for me while I'm traveling, and this is the end game, really, is to have a few of these going, so don't have to do the day job.
That's pretty cool.
It is. And how long have you been doing this? The 3 jobs?
Doing the bars for 6 years, and the day job for like 20.
So you've had enough time in your 6 years to figure out that you're going to be able to retire on these bars.
Yeah, it's still like every day is an adventure, I say, up here. But yeah, there's definitely enough data to prove that it could work.
All right, that's awesome.
Minus a pandemic here and there.
Oh, that was definitely stressful.
Yeah.
So the whole pandemic situation, we were still in Ridgeway, and our lease was up, and we decided not to renew there, just because Ridgeway is a sweet, awesome town. I love it, but it's just not great for business. It's a pass-through town. And then we had the opportunity to move up here and be on Main Street. So when that happened, we were getting ready to open. It was St. Patty's Day 2000, and we were going to do our grand opening party. And that's when they shut down all bars and restaurants. We had literally got our liquor license in the same meeting that they shut down all the restaurants.
Oh, that's brutal.
But
And we had
everybody
just
was flocking to the outdoor stuff in the middle of the pandemic. I would have thought you guys got rushed here.
We did. It was actually an interesting thing. So the first 6 weeks were super scary. It was ghost town. Obviously, everybody was stuck at home, right? But once they opened the doors a little bit for people to get out, they didn't want to be in cities. So we did get rushed up here. And the end of 2020 all the way up until last year was just insane, the amount of people that were in town. It's finally leveling off a little bit. But yeah, it was really good for us, actually.
Good.
When is the busy season up here? Like the most busy of summer? When is it?
Yeah, right now. So it kind of fluctuates. But from like June 15th to October 15th, we call our season. And the fluctuations there, like 4th of July is super just packed. The town is bursting at the seams. And then summer kind of plays in and dies off a little bit. But then come August, September, you get a lot of the Jeepers that are up here that are doing the trails, and folks that are like spending the rest of their, whatever summer vacation time they have.
Please, thank you. What about the colors? Because there are a lot of like pine trees around here. So how do the colors change in the fall?
They're pretty
there
sweet
much?
colors up here. The hotter the summer, the better the colors are typically. And the early, it just depends. It changes every year up here. But it's not like East Coast colors, right? You don't get like the 5 to 6 different colors. It's like you get a little bit of red, a little bit of yellow, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Coming from Kansas City, we know all about those seasonal color changes, the fall colors and everything. So this is a whole different kind of beauty out here. You get something different.
Yeah, you see the contrast. It's cool with the different colors compared to Kansas City, where that's more like East Coast, right? Where you have a lot of different trees that are changing, and it's a lot of reds.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with the area outside of here up by Groundhog? It's outside Durango or north of Durango towards Telluride. But it's, the colors are the most beautiful thing I've seen in my entire life. North of like Dove Creek, right?
I don't know how to explain it. I just know I've been up there to our family's cabin and
Elevation's like 11,000.
been up there on snowmobiles. And the
rangers.
snowpack looking out over these valleys was one of the coolest things I've ever experienced being up there.
So maybe it's really gorgeous out here today, I'll say, and maybe you guys know more than me about like the beetle rot or what's going on in the upper trees. You know how it's gray up there and
Right. My sister was actually
the beetle
just
kill.
explaining to me what happened is why these trees, like there's a bunch of dead ones. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, yeah.
The beetles.
Yeah, she said it's from the drought, and what happens is there's certain trees, you get your, I guess, healthier trees that still all the water, and then the other ones, they don't get the water, and then what happens is they don't produce the sap that they need, and that sap is important for their survival, and so they end up drying up and dying out.
And she also said the beetles eat the weaker trees.
And that's
the
what
weaker
happens.
trees
It makes
don't
them
survive.
that
because
makes
the
them
vulnerable to the
ecosystem-
beetles.
That whole process is what makes them susceptible
Yes.
to the beetles that kill them.
Yep.
And
How often-
it was interesting to see as we rode through the mountains, where some of them, it was the majority of them were dead trees versus the majority of them were live trees, and so you can tell where the water comes down the mountain and which ones are getting fed, what they need. And also another cool part about it, and I'm sure this is directly related to where the hydration, if you will, is on what side of the mountain, but you'll be driving along this side and then you come up around the corner and the other side is completely different. Completely different.
So, Jeremy, you have some mining history in the area. Or is it in the area or just in general? You got some mining blood?
Oh, that's funny.
Because we are here at the Dead Canary, which refers to some
Is that where that comes
mining
from?
terms.
The name
Yes.
is a
Yeah, it's
Dead
a mining
canary.
term. So they used to use canaries in the coal mines back in all the way into 1910, and they stopped around 1910. They haven't used canaries since. And up here, they're hard rock mines. They're not coal mines. But I grew up kind of in the Gillette, Wyoming area, so northern Wyoming. And my father worked at the coal mines there, Cabal Rojo. And so I spent, weekends and summers hanging out with the big trucks with the giant, tires and a bunch of miners and yeah.
So,
What is
what
it?
we saw up there looked insane where those mines were.
Yeah, so up here they call it hard rock mines. So they're mining silver and hard rock versus coal, and I don't really know the difference beyond that.
There's got to be a lot of iron up there. There's way too much bread going on. There's
For
definitely
sure.
an iron mining.
Beat rock.
I wonder how much gold's in those mountains.
Right.
Now, so what does the dead canary mean? So what does that mean?
So they would use canaries to measure the oxygen in the mine. So they would take a canary with them, and when the canary would die, they knew that they had to get out because there was no oxygen.
Huh.
So it was a really rudimentary way for safety in the beginning
100%.
days of mining.
Why a canary, though?
I don't know why it was canaries.
Maybe who knows, maybe they're a bird that's super sensitive to whatever the buildup is.
It can handle the altitude.
Or probably had to be something to do with early intervention of smelling or whatever this, killer this odor is.
Well, we saw a few of the caves up there. There was this one that was right on the side of where there's a bunch of the red rocks. It was just so freaking cool. I wanted to get in that cave. You could only shine your light far enough to see that there was a a curve.
Yeah.
And then it was full of water, so we didn't go in. But man, I wanted
And
to
it
go
had an
explore that.
active, it had like a big round, I don't know, tube of some sort coming out of it that seemed fairly new, like they're actively mining up there.
Which
I
mine were
think
you
there's
guys
a
at?
location. I think where we were, some people like will turn off for a trail that goes to what they call the wall. It was near there.
Winch and locker needed to go on that trail,
Oh, okay.
which we had, but we just didn't take that trail because we had some old people with us, and our mother with us.
I was surprised to see quite a few older people out there, and these are some tough trails.
Yeah, I think
They
the
went on the tough
the
road.
crowd's very diverse that does the jeeping, and I was surprised too with you when I was up there seeing it's like a lot of retirees and
Well, not only that, but people with baby seats strapped in. Sorry. I'm like, okay, that's fun. But that's what our niece, they started out taking her out when she was that young too. She started experiencing this stuff. I asked him, I was like, how old?
Before she was old enough to drive.
Well, yeah, I mean, but no, she was in a seat too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she was that
That's
little.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to go when we lived in Gillette. We'd go through the Black Hills, the South Dakota. That was our like weekend jeeping.
Oh, really?
Oh, so you
Experience.
were used to this before you got to Colorado. How
Yeah,
does it compare, the Dakotas to this?
it's way different. It's way better up here. A lot more river crossings and high prairies. Not a lot of people in South Dakota, so that's the big difference. Is you're not here. It's like traffic jams on the trails, which is awesome. There's a
I
lot
think
of
we got
people.
lucky yesterday. We took some of the more difficult trails, and we didn't run into as many people.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. There were
Yeah.
some spots that I was just like, we're not getting through here. And then, I mean, those side-by-sides, they'll do anything.
Right. Those things are great, and they're way more comfortable, I think, than Jeeps or trucks. Right.
I think there
I
were
don't know, I'm
some,
not
some
done.
of these were not passable by Jeeps. I mean, some of these
But
trails we were
those
on-
Jeeps were going through all the stuff we did. There was somebody up there with a camper on the back of their truck.
And they also were wrecked, and they had to be winched out too. We had to sit and wait. We're like, we just saw them going up the mountain. Next thing we know, we see them in a ditch, and they're winching them out.
But they were prepared and they got out.
Anyway, he's like, let's
Yeah.
turn them off.
So another interesting thing that this area did was like for a long time they had hot air balloons. Like there was like a festival or something, they would do it like once a year where there's like 1,000 in the sky, like a ton going on.
I've been here during that.
Yeah, and then you could go and get in a hot air balloon. There was like a rental or something fly up, and I don't think they do it anymore. It was like a tradition, a long-standing tradition that I haven't seen any in years anymore.
Yeah, I think they still do the hot air balloons out of Ridgeway.
They
on
do.
Saturdays and Sundays.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they shoot early.
I thought we saw some hot air balloons.
Yeah.
This would be a cool place to do hot air balloons. They do hot air balloons in Kansas City.
Yay!
There's nothing exciting about that. Float over and look at some flat land. Go for it. This is the place to do a hot air balloon. That would be fun.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like bungee jumping.
I don't know
Wait,
about
where's
that.
the bungee jumping?
There's not. I know that's one
Oh.
thing that's not here.
I've never
Or
done it. and I've wanted
skydiving
to.
here.
I've never done. Skydiving
Yeah.
here would be cool.
Yeah.
Gliding.
Hang gliding.
Yeah.
That would be the jam right there. So what's your favorite activity out here? What do you like to do the most?
Out here, it's just really being in the woods in any way, like whether it's hunting or jeeping or hiking or whatever. Just like being away from the people, you know.
Yeah.
Do you have dogs?
No.
No dogs.
No, just me.
That would be too hard to travel the way you do and keep dogs.
I'm gone. Yeah, I usually leave. I'm usually gone every Tuesday through Thursday, and then a full week every other week.
Where is your nearest airport?
Montrose.
Oh.
Yeah, but it's touch and go whether those flights actually leave.
Yeah, it's like,
So, like, if I have an appointment I actually have to be at, I'll drive to Denver and fly from Denver.
seriously?
Yeah.
And how far is that drive to Denver from here?
It's 5.5 hours to
'Cause I-
DIA.
Okay, because this is like my destination, trying to figure out where I want my home to be. And I cover all of the Midwest out to the West Coast, California.
Oh yeah,
And so I can live anywhere in between. So
that's kind of what I
But
have.
have to
my
have
last kid
air
out of high
transport.
school,
Yeah.
like, but I
Where
have
do you
to-
work? Which
I
company?
fly all the time. I fly every week. So
Oh,
I'm
okay.
an area director for a pharmaceutical company.
Okay, that's similar to what I do. Yeah. I mean, not similar, but similar territory and stuff like that.
Because
So I
you're
have
in the
half
you're in the
country,
cells.
basically.
Right.
You've got those territories yet. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you'd like to live out here? to move out here?
Well, I have to be somewhere where I can access an airport because I fly every week too.
Yeah.
I'm on a plane every Monday or Tuesday until Wednesday or Thursday.
What's your typical destination? Is it like California?
Phoenix. San Diego, El Paso, and all these places. So yeah, Denver. That's why I'm here all the time. Denver, have a rep there.
Yeah.
Phoenix, El Paso, another place in Texas. Don't know, haven't gone yet. It's too hot. And then San Diego, and where else? Kansas City,
Some Missouri.
Arkansas, Missouri, and Oklahoma City.
Okay, so a couple territories there.
The only
I have a
interesting
region,
stuff
so I
is
have a
out
region.
this way.
So
Region.
these are all territories within my region.
Got it, yeah.
So I got some good news from you. I'm actually starting a fundraiser because me and Jeremy have had a plan for quite some time.
Yeah.
I'm going into flight school. I'm going to be a private pilot. So I'll take you guys wherever you need to go, you know.
The idea was...
I just have to get to a major airport where I can fly the rest of the place. I mean, just a major airport because I direct all the way.
Just
So
fly you
up
guys
here-
from
I
here
go
to
to
Denver.
Boston,
No
so-
problem.
I
Okay,
travel
now
to
do
Boston
you
quite
have a
bit for
realtor
work.
that can help her buy some property here?
We have
Yeah.
a system.
Yeah, we
she
could
would.
help you there. We know all the realtors up here.
But I mean, becoming a pilot, I'm all on board with that. I think these memberships that we can buy now
Yes.
to be part of like a flight club, if you will, for
Yep.
those who travel, or it's like having a timeshare on a jet.
Yeah.
My company's like, literally, I said, if I could justify that cost, that expense for me, all the regional flying that I do,
Yep.
my boss is like, put it together.
That plane we would have that would go all the way, for me, I need to go to San Jose, Boston,
I go to Boston,
Dallas.
that's where my corporate is.
So the idea was either the plane would have to be big enough to go to the West Coast or get us to the regional, which is Denver.
Yeah.
But I prefer to have just a private plane for the local
I
flights.
would invest in that. If I decided to relocate, I still have a kid in high school. I've got to get him out of high school, and that's the plan. But if I had investing partners, I would absolutely do something like that.
Oh, totally. I think that, there's a bunch of us that do this. That's kind of what Ridgeway and Ouray locals are mostly folks like us that have those work at home jobs, which is really
Remote.
work from the airport.
Yeah, work from the airport, yes. And your
Yeah.
car,
Yeah.
rental car,
or wherever.
whatever.
Yeah, and that's why. So like Junction has really decent flights. They're pretty consistent.
Travel, it is brutal right
It
now.
is so brutal.
I think I got out of it. Well, towards the end of the pandemic, I stopped doing similar work to what Vicky does, and haven't had to deal with what's happened since then with travel. And I think it's gotten worse.
It's
way
worse than I've
worse.
ever seen it right now, in terms of like getting to your destination. And they're saying it's mechanical.
Yeah, that's why I've been trying to get to DIA, and I take the early flights because those seem to be the ones that make it. The afternoon, evening flights are the ones that are all jacked up.
I'm lucky. My
need
company,
to hear
they are
myself.
all about like quality of life and travel. They're like, if you need to stay an extra night to get out first thing in the morning,
Yep.
they're cool with it.
I've started doing that too.
They get it. It's taxing to have to travel every week by airline.
Oh, it's tough.
So I know-
Hotels and all the garbage of the whole thing that comes with it.
Yeah.
Like,
And the point value does not match the output anymore, does it? Like the points?
shoot, Marriott points. It's like 45,000 points for
Oh, that
a
made
courtyard.
noise. I heard that.
63,000 points.
It's working.
to-
Perry, you
That's-
think?
That's insane.
Right.
But the points now, and when you stay in a hotel and you spend $250 plus a night on a hotel room, you go home with 4,000 points.
Yeah, they just don't equate anymore.
They don't. Well,
Well,
cheers.
I think they made a sort of a little bit of an exception through the pandemic, and we're giving a lot of leniencies and letting people cancel without penalty. And so I think what they're trying to do is make up for that
Yeah.
and reducing the amount of points that they're giving to people for their travel.
Yeah, the rewards are not the same, but travel.
Yeah.
So what else?
I think we should take
Take 5.
a small break, pause it,
No.
No.
he's-
and we'll be back with more
What's it with the
Canary
way this
Radio.
works is
You
say
asked
all
about
this-
our work, and I was going to say, if you want